Hello all, and welcome to Explained with Dylan. I'm sorry this video is a bit later than usual. I was just about to film it, when then I get a notification from TSN that Ryan O'Reilly has been traded to the Toronto Maple Leafs. So then I have to make a video about that, and I'll leave a link to that in the description. And now I can make a video about this, which is actually a more pressing matter, believe it or not. A glacier, pegged as the Doomsday Glacier, is melting at a faster rate than expected. This glacier is called the Doomsday Glacier because if it were to melt to its entirety, then the Earth would have a very, 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 very big problem. It is 192,000 kilometers of surface area. That is roughly the same size as the island of Britain, which is the island that composes Scotland, Wales, and England, but not Northern Ireland. The good news is, this glacier is not melting as fast as scientists thought. The bad news is, this glacier is melting faster than scientists thought. You see, the parts of a glacier that you expect to melt quicker, which would be the tip and the very surface, are melting slower than scientists thought, which is good news. Scientists have very varying estimates of when this glacier will finally melt. Some will tell you it's 100,000 years away, while others will tell you it's about 5 years away. But we will see. But it's great news that the parts that are expected to melt are melting more slowly. Maybe Doomsday, which is what I am now going to call this glacier, has a chance to live for quite a much longer time. The bad news is, scientists conducted a study, which is not the bad news. They went through, and that's how they discovered that it is actually melting slower than expected in the places you would expect it to melt faster. But part of that study, they drilled deep into the glacier to see what it felt like down there. And that is the bad news, because it turns out inside that glacier, then there are plenty of cracks and crevices. Now, that isn't completely unusual for an iceberg. It's a shape, it's natural. You're not expecting it to just be flat and flat. But those crevices and cracks are growing, as found. They are melting at an unexpectedly fast pace. Which means that even if the whole glacier doesn't melt right away, it's possible that it just completely breaks off. Which could prove to be even more of an issue. You see, if Doomsday were to melt to its entirety, then sea levels would rise about 70 centimeters. Which would be a problem, obviously. That could cause quite a bit of damage to quite a few coastal cities. The problem is that Doomsday acts as a barrier for most of the ice in Western Antarctica. Okay, probably not most, but a lot of the ice in Western Antarctica. Which means that if it were to float away or melt, both would be very bad. Then sea levels would rise an expected 240 centimeters from all the ice coming down after it. That would be very, very, very bad. Think of how many coastal cities we would likely lose just from that. Houston would be gone. New Orleans would be gone. Most of Florida would probably be gone just with that. New York would have some major issues. We'd lose most of the Netherlands. Bangkok would be gone. Ho Chi Minh City would be gone. Venice would be long gone. There are many other coastal cities I could name that would be gone just because of this, or facing many issues. Jakarta would finally go, and Indonesia would have to finally move its capital to either Balikpapan or Samarinda or a new city they're going to build somewhere in between. I don't know. I should make a video about that someday. But for now, this could be a very big issue. So, we will have to see how this all turns out. As I said, some scientists are expecting that will last another 100,000 years. That would be great. We could use that. It would be nice if we just stay frozen. But with rising temperatures, it will be likely to melt quite a bit sooner than that. Although, I do not think you will melt in the next 5 years or even 10 years. But in 100 years, maybe not to its entirety, but a lot of Doomsday will have melted. And it's possible that, as I said, it could break off, which would cause even more of an issue, as explained earlier. By then, though, with so much other ice melting, many of the cities I named will already be gone. And that is a big issue we are going to have to face in the future. And honestly, at this point in time, I don't think there's any way out of it. Some of those cities are not going to survive the next 50 years, even though they have lived for so very long. But for now, thanks for watching.